And we're back talking with Dr. Hoang and Father Binh Nguyen, and we are so happy to have them talking about the Vietnamese Eucharistic Youth Movement. And Father, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about the youth movement at a time where people, there's been some research recently and surveys about people not believing in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist. And could you talk about the importance of having this youth movement and how important it is to showcase the real presence?
Yes, I think if I ask this question, I think this question is very important, especially now with the common reality that not many people really, I think I would say that more young people now are distant from church, or even those who come to church, they may not be faithful until the end. And you can see that many young people leave the church after the confirmation.
Yeah.
But this with the youth movement, Eucharistic youth movement, we invite them to stay in the church, and they stay with the church even after the confirmation. And I heard in the old time that we heard that we believe and then we belong, but now it's reverse. We belong and then we believe. Yeah. So that's what happened with the Eucharistic Youth Movement now. We form together every weekend, every Sunday at church. We form together as a one family, and they feel a sense of belonging. From that belonging, that we will help them to go to visit the Eucharist more often. And then when we do that, they learn more about the belief, about the real presence of the Eucharist at Mass, at the table. So it's not really easy to help young people to have a sense of real presence. Yeah. But first of all, I think that we have to be present with one another first as one family. And that concept may help them to come to believe the real presence of the Eucharist in the table. Yeah. So it's a very important question. And now our focus is to help them, to draw them to the Eucharist. Every member every chapter is asked to have the Eucharistic adoration once a month. Okay. Yeah. And also they are asked to receive the Holy Communion spiritually every day, even the morning, afternoon, evening. So by receiving the Eucharistic spiritually, I say in a simple prayer like, "Lord God, I love you. Please remain with me forever." Yeah. By doing that, we help them to draw closer to the Eucharist.
And Dr. Hoang, I know that the purpose of the movement has two main components, I understand: education for the youth and empowering them as well. Could you talk about that?
Certainly. So with the effort of getting the youth connected to the Eucharist, really we have to get the youth to the foundation. And one of our foundations, really the foundation of us and really the church, is the Word of God, recognizing that our day belongs to God, our existence belongs to God. Without God, we are nothing. And the best way to understand God is really to grow in love with the gospel. And so we've been considering ourselves as an educational institution, really capitalizing on effective pedagogy, teaching methods to get the youth staying connected with the gospel. And now knowing that the attention span of the youth and young adults are not at all that much compared to most of us. Yeah. And so really we're very creative in our ways of deploying the weekly gospel. The weekly gospel, the way that we've been able to successfully deploy, takes no longer than 7 to 10 minutes per weekend, sort of similar to some of the podcasts that you may have online about sort of the gospel summary. And within it, we share with them the virtue for that day and a small exercise that they can do. And then we integrate, knowing that kids and then the youth, they love games, they love activities. And so we integrate all sorts of creative games, but with a Bible touch to it. So for example, instead of capturing the flag that we often see a lot of kids do, while we play the same game, but we don't call it capture the flag, we call it let's rescue a soul in purgatory, for example. Okay. So capitalize on every opportunity that we have, whether it be from convention, from weekend retreats, from training camps, from line formation, team dynamics, what have you, on a weekly basis to educate about God, about the church. And then the other part is to be sort of missionary disciples, to evangelize. And I think this is where our Holy Father nailed on it in his recent exhortation to the youth at the Youth Synod in terms of Christ is alive, Christ is lived, that we ought to go to the marginalized, where there are people who need to encounter Christ the most. And we're deploying our youth member out to the community. For example, one day that we have on an annual basis, we'll call it the National Day of Apostolic Work, where on this one day we mobilize chapters all around the country to get out in the community and to let other people see Christ, see the image of God through the work that we do in helping others recognize the blessings that they have. So things like that in nature, where essentially, and they by themselves living what Father Binh just talked about early on, to have God in their life and to offer their day to God, others will see that model through them. Yeah. And the marginalized, not just people who are far off, but could also people within their community, other youth in the parish not yet have an opportunity to engage in some of these ministries, and even in themselves to help grow in that sense. And so sort of this two-pronged approach where they're being educated and they're learning it, and then applying it in real life. That seems to be quite successful for us. And we now on our 35th year of growing strong in the U.S. So it's been quite blessed.
That's amazing. Sounds like great programs and a great organization as well. And how can people support the VEYM and learn more about one of the 136 chapters? Could you let people know where to go to find out more?
Sure. So we're above 140 chapters now, and so VEYM is the website that people can look into. And pretty much, I'm sure if you're viewing the show within your diocese, because we're all over the country, within your diocese, I'm sure you see people kind of in uniform. Reach out to them, let them know that you'd like to learn more about it. Or you can also reach us at headquarters@veym.net. And actually, Father Binh here, he's not only our general chaplain, but he's also been appointed by the organization, an international organization, as our EYM coordinator for the U.S. Okay. And so we're more than happy to share this model that other parishes, other community can just take it and adapt it to their own cultural needs, their own specific needs, and that we can all grow from there together. It's really all just one church, so it really belongs there.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us today.